Japan has had to declare states of emergency at 2 nuclear power sites about 150 miles north of Tokyo. Evacuations have been ordered to more than 40,000 people. Radiation levels are elevated and crews are still working to make sure there is no meltdown. The cooling systems at the sites failed as a result of the earthquake because they need electricity to work. The backup generators failed, so there's no electricity. Radiation levels outside one plant are said to have been detected at 8 times the normal level. Inside the facility, they were 1,000 times what is normal. The crisis is raising concerns about nuclear safety in Japan and here in America. Look for debate about this to be raging in Illinois because we have 6 nuclear power sites get close to 50% of our electricity from nuclear energy. That is a higher percentage than any other state. Our conversation about nuclear power continues with Dave Kraft, director of the Nuclear Energy Information Service, which is a group that is seeking to end nuclear power. We are also on the phone with Jay Lehr. He's the science director of the Heartland Institute. It's a Chicago-based think tank, though Jay himself is based in Ohio. Jay, you on the phone there with us?
I am, Robin.
Jay, you told us nuclear energy is the safest form of energy. I got to say, though, I would not want to be near one of those reactors in Japan right now.
Well, you would be mistaken there because the safety levels are such that the evacuation is being done as an added precaution, but they are on top of it. Robin, there are 444 operating nuclear power plants in the world today. There has never been a loss of life in any of these plants. There are 200 nuclear ships that have plied the seas for 40 years. There has never been a loss of life in any of them. Nuclear energy is actually the safest form of energy. We lose 200 people a year in conventional power plants around the world. Chernobyl is the only loss of life, and no sane country would ever have built Chernobyl. It was an accident waiting to happen. 49 lives were lost, mostly by firemen that went in to fight the fire.
Yeah, we understand that you said Chernobyl would never be built in the free world, and we presume that technology just gets better and better. So I have to wonder. Your group, Dave, says that there should be no nuclear energy.
That's right, Robin. And actually, there are a number of statements you heard now which were pretty much boilerplate from the nuclear industry. The most egregious being the so-called death toll at Chernobyl. You're saying that there have been other deaths based on nuclear energy? Even the Ukrainian government admits it's in the tens of thousands. So what we're talking about are the actual immediate deaths that you're talking about there.
Make a statement like that. The United Nations studied this for 12 years, and they put out a 1,200-page report that showed that the loss of life was minimal.
I'm picking on one particular point, but let's come back to Illinois, because what's germane here is the fact that the 10 reactors that are experiencing an emergency in Japan, we have 4 of the exact same design here in Illinois. 2 at Dresden, 55 miles south of Chicago, and 2 on the Mississippi River. Now, what else is an interesting parallel is the fact that this earthquake, the 8.9 earthquake that occurred in Japan, is at a comparable level to the New Madrid earthquake we had here 200 years ago this coming December, which was an 8.1 earthquake.
Japan is earthquake prone, and you're saying we're due for one.
Now, there are different kinds of earthquakes, but the important thing to remember is that on this particular scale, the kinds of earthquakes in the center of a continent are different than on the coast.
This one was centered out in the
ocean. So what we're saying here is that even though reactors are designed to withstand earthquakes, these reactors in Illinois are slated to be extended in their operating life an additional 20 to 40 years. So I would ask how many of you and how many of your viewers are driving around in their 1970 Ford Fairlanes.
Well, let's ask Jay.
This gentleman is a member of the Flat Earth Society. Nuclear
Quite the contrary. We're in the 21st century.
Is our safest form of energy. 100 years from now, the entire world will operate.
Are you saying those Japan reactors are in no danger of having what we know as a core meltdown?
Robin, the proof of the pudding will be that this terrible, terrible earthquake of 8.9 on the Richter scale will not cause a loss of life of radiation. The Japanese plants
We don't know that. We do not know that yet.
Well, we will know in a few days.
What we're going to know is that in the next 6 to 8 hours, the Japanese cabinet has said that if they don't get the coolant under control at the reactor, there will be damaged fuel. Now, we don't know exactly what that's going to mean, but if the accident goes on and on because 3 of the safety layers have already failed, you could have a situation where eventually there will be a pressure rupture of the reactor. You'll have an uncontrolled release of radioactive
Well, Jay,
material.
we're looking into the
meltdown.
future, and it will reveal itself. I'm just wondering, though, what is the correlation between your electricity goes out because you've had an earthquake, and you need electricity to cool the core? How do you figure that?
All of this is built into their safety mechanisms. What the Japanese are doing now is everything that they have rehearsed to do under a terrible situation that we have. And the proof of the pudding, Robin, will be as the weeks and months go by, we will see that their nuclear power plants held up to one of the worst natural disasters ever, and there will not be a significant loss of life, perhaps no loss of life from radiation as a result of this disaster.
Well, since we had you at the disadvantage of being on the telephone, we're going to give you the last word there. We do appreciate you joining us. Jay Lehr, with the science director of the Heartland Institute, which is in favor of nuclear power, and we do appreciate you joining us, Dave Kraft, who, of course, believes there should be no nuclear power. And in the next few days, we'll be watching this like a real-life drama as it plays out, and hopefully with a good ending.